Welcome to Liquid Lunch. We're coming at you live. It is, let's see now, the last day of April.
Wow.
You know what that means?
It means I don't know what to wear weather.
No, it means we have to do banking today.
Oh, right.
It's banking day.
Tax? Did you do it yet? Yes, he did.
I'll pretend I never heard the question.
Okay. See, for those of us who did it, April 30th comes and goes like any other day.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess.
It's for those of us who didn't do that, the market. So you know what? Here you gave yourself away.
No, I was just talking about the end of the month in general, not April.
Okay. All right, sure.
It's like, you know.
Banking. When is the day that you actually, what is that day that turns around where you're actually, is it your contribution or something?
Yeah. No, it's the day that you start earning money for yourself, right?
Okay,
Up until that day, all the monies that you've earned goes to the government.
Right.
Which is,
and it keeps going further and further and further into the year.
They need to steal our money because
more and more. But stealing our money is coming to an end, and we're going to talk all about this kind of stuff today.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Because we have Patricia Cori joining us here at the table.
Yes.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, you're on TV.
Hey, look at that.
Patricia, that's a beautiful shawl / scarf.
Thank you. It's been made by someone who made personal garments for the Queen of Jordan.
The Queen of Jordan?
Yeah.
Queen Noor?
Really?
Yeah. No, the new queen.
Oh, the new queen. I don't know the new queen.
I don't know the new queen either. She makes these beautiful designs and.
Well, that is
for me.
beautiful. The colors are striking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So just before we get into it, Patricia, I just want to say we have Gia Ionesco coming on the show later. Jazz great here in Toronto.
Jazz aficionado.
And Geoff West will be talking about the disclosure.
Yay!
That's imminent.
You know, you can watch that show, Sirius, with Dr. Stephen Greer. It's free online now. Did you know that?
Well, and we're going to watch some of it during the show today. Okay. Also, Sandra Saradesi is going to be coming on healingoftheheart.com. And we've got some real videos of giant UFOs over Toronto. Remember that?
When? Do we know?
Last year.
Oh, wow. They're here, but then there's no time.
They're here, but our memories were wiped by the cosmic ray that came off the spaceship. But, you know, we're going to remind people about that today.
Okay.
So, Patricia, welcome.
Hello,
Thank you. It's great to be here. Sunny Toronto.
Now,
where are you from?
I'm from San Francisco, but I live in Rome, Italy.
Wow. Oh, my
Beautiful
God.
place.
I envy you.
Come on.
Wow. Can we just get up and go?
We'll just beam ourselves over.
Awesome. Maybe we can use the spaceship that we had from last year.
Which
Do you think
spaceship?
Well, the one, the UFOs that were hovering over. Maybe.
I certainly don't think we'll make it in the one that we saw in the video.
It's too
we're
big,
see
isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think
ostentatious.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now where do we start? Like, first of all, since we're segueing from the UFO discussion, okay, let's get into what you're talking about. You're in Toronto to do a DNA activation thing, but but maybe you can. How does that relate to the UFOs?
Okay, well, I would help if I give a little background about what I do.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so I'm an author and a spiritual teacher, and I think I'm up to 12 books now, and these books are I hate the word channeled, but that's what it is. Received, yeah. I got a huge breakthrough in a crop circle in 1996.
Where was the crop circle, Patricia?
In England, across from Stonehenge.
Okay.
And after that, I started receiving these messages, and unwillingly at first, I started to record them, and pretty soon it was just like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do, just do it. Okay. So these are beings from the 6th dimension.
Okay.
And you talked about Sirius. Well, they claim to be Syrian light beings who are connected with Earth for a number of reasons that have to do with past karma and involvement with the planet. And they are trying to help us understand the evolution that we're in and the shift of the planet's DNA and our DNA.
Beautiful.
So they're good aliens.
Well, they're 6-dimensional, interdimensional beings. We can't even really call them aliens.
Okay.
In a sense.
Are they the ones responsible for the crop circles?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think that crop circles are interdimensional.
Messages?
Let's put it this way. If you were an alien species or another dimensional species or form of intelligence, what would be the way to communicate intelligence to another species?
Well, I
intelligent,
guess through things like crop circles,
sacred
yeah,
geometry
yeah.
or anything that would speak to ratio, numerics.
Why can't they just come here and say, hey?
Because we'd probably shoot them to death.
No,
But if they're interdimensional, we couldn't shoot them, could we?
Oh, well, they are interdimensionally. They are present for people who could perceive them. But Stan
Oh, okay.
Friedman, wonderful ufologist, once I had him on my radio show once, and I said, Stan, when are they just going to land? When are we going to get the big breakthrough? And he said, well, if we would just stop shooting at everything, we might have a chance.
Well,
That
Geoff
makes
is going
sense.
to talk about that later in the show because apparently disclosure is imminent.
Yeah, it's underway.
We had a big conference down in Washington.
It's going on right now.
Well, disclosure
April
is
29th through the-
underway. It's just a little bit massaging the population into embracing this more and more every minute.
Well, okay, so, but there's obviously like different, call it alien or
ETs
multi-dimensional, non-human or post-human or whatever, beyond human intelligences. You got these ones that you're talking about, but we've also got the Anunnaki, right, who are the bad reptilians that landed in Sumeria, those many years ago.
Well, we've got to be really try to be as, without being facetious, to be as clear as possible. We've got three-dimensional aliens or beings from other planetary bodies, planetary or systems, solar systems, and then we can talk about multidimensional consciousness, which people say, oh, are they beautiful blue? People describe Syrians as beautiful blue, Ashtar command type beings, Jesus Christ-like beings, and they're not. They're consciousness. They're light, which we are hopefully going to progress to.
Dolphins, whales, are
Yes.
they from Sirius as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
They
okay.
sit on the Syrian High Council. In fact, my
Okay.
latest book is Before We Leave You, Messages from the Great Whales and Dolphins.
Okay.
Didn't you have something, so long and thanks for all the fish? I mean, because that's the line from...
That is the funniest thing ever.
know.
So long and thanks for all the fish.
So this DNA activation workshop you have coming up. So what is this about exactly?
This is the event is called Ascending the Spiral of Light, and it
Okay.
is an embracing of the idea that the junk DNA within us is not junk at all, which is kind of ridiculous that we still buy into the idea that 93% of our DNA, the architectural information of life, is junk. And the reason why it's called junk is because the scientists don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but they're learning because they've broken the DNA code. And so my intention here is to help people reassemble that information and
Okay.
to activate full DNA consciousness, which I believe would be 12 strands of active DNA.
Okay, let me ask you a question. And I don't know how accurate this is, but my understanding is we were 12 reduced to 2. Okay, and all of those 12 DNA strands, each strand represents a particular being. One being Sirian, one being Andromedan, one being Pleiadian, and we are a composite of all of them. Is that accurate, Patricia?
That is not information that I understand, but that doesn't mean it's not accurate. It's just not my perception.
Okay.
My understanding is that when we reassemble the third strand of DNA, we create triangulation in the DNA. There are a lot of people that are doing this work that are talking about 2 strands at a time, another double
Okay.
helix, and meshing this all
Okay.
in. And my understanding is that with another strand of DNA, we create triangulation in the DNA structure.
Okay.
And that strand reconnects us to our star nation. And then from there, we reactivate another triangulation so that there are 3 strands together. That's what I'm bringing forward.
What's Star Nation? What do you mean when you say Star Nation?
What I mean, yeah, I've got to be careful because that's also used by the Native Americans.
Yes, it is.
I am referring to the origins, the starseed origins of each of us.
So what does that mean? None of us is human? When you say starseed.
Well, what is human? My understanding is that we are actually you got that smile again.
Because I'm having fun.
Because I'm doing all the work.
My understanding is that we are a conglomerate, an assembly of DNA snippets from different species,
Okay.
or different races, stellar races.
So that's along the
Homo
lines of what I was
sapiens.
talking about, but not necessarily just the DNA
Exactly.
strip. Okay.
Exactly.
And Syrians would be one of them, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
And that's why they're watching over, right?
Yeah, they are. Well, they have because they were involved in the experiment, let's say.
Yes.
They call it the Syrian experiment, which was to nest a species of highly evolved beings on this beautiful planet. And a few things went awry, but here we are. We're still chipping away at it.
Amazing that we're still here, right?
Yeah.
In some ways.
Well, we're very powerful beings.
Okay, but yet the Anunnaki
Here we go.
is trying to keep us down by stealing all our gold.
In my book, Atlantis Rising, it's spelled out that it's not just about the gold. The solar system that we're in is about to ascend to the next dimension. Okay, this is pretty esoteric. You want to go there?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what
we talked
we're
about
here
this,
for.
Patricia.
Okay, so the Syrians say that our sun is about to experience ascension into the fourth, not just Earth, not just individual ascension, but the actual star is going to the fourth dimension, and all of the planetary bodies that are part of that solar system are going to. And
That's a huge
we're talking
lot
about
of things.
That explains some of the goings on Uranus.
Now you're being silly.
That's you.
So now you made me lose my chain of thought.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so all of these stars and planets are moving in.
Yeah, we're all
We're
ascending.
going to go
Ascending.
through a
Fourth dimension?
the council call it's actually an astral cord. They say you think of it as a black hole, but what the black holes really are astral cords.
Astral
because these are all
cords.
conscious beings.
Okay.
And they all have astral cords like we do.
Okay.
So we're going to move through. That is what the ascension process is.
Now you're mentioning fourth. Many have said that we're already in fourth, moving to fifth.
The council
that the-
say that the fourth is a clearing station
Right.
where we will face our collective karma.
Right.
And that
See, like a lot of us are going through that now as we
That's
speak, right?
We are already shifting into the fourth. So I just had this conversation yesterday with some people that many times when we have these moments where it's like, whoa, what was that? We're already popping in and out, moving in and out, because this is liquid. We're linear.
This
We
is
like to
liquid lunch.
define things in layers
Yes.
because we're linear beings.
Yes.
But this is
Yes.
a totally liquid experience where there is no definition per se as we understand it as linear people.
That's right. That's why we're going multi-dimensional.
That's right. We are multidimensional beings. It's just that we have anchored our consciousness in this idea of a finite reality.
Right.
And now we're starting to say, wait a minute, what was that? I always tell people, be prepared. Pretty soon you may see a dinosaur in your soup.
Wow. Don't eat it.
No, eat it.
No, don't eat
you
it.
can eat
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can
Unless
eat
it's
it.
like those little dinosaur cereal things or
Patricia,
something.
can you eat the dinosaur?
No, you have to just wave it on.
Okay,
To
it's
next
going to be
dimension.
bigger than you. I think it could eat you.
In my soup?
Well, it's going to be overflowing.
But the thing is, quite honestly, imagine this. Imagine when more and more people who are not necessarily totally evolved consciously start perceiving these bleed-throughs, I like to call them. It's going to take a lot for people to handle this.
Well, that's a good point because right outside the studio, we're very much in King and Bay area, so this is very much a matrix. This is very much a 9 to 5.
I noticed.
Toronto Stock Exchange, all that stuff. What's going to happen with them? How is this going to work?
I don't know. Anybody that tells you how it's going to happen, don't walk away.
Okay, that's
Because
good
this
advice.
This is all
Nobody knows.
hypothetical, and it's all individual. Where there's a certain group consciousness that will experience things as a conscious being,
Okay.
and then we as individuals, a lot determines where we've got our focus. But I do think, and I'm sure you agree, that a lot of the old structures are going to have to fall away.
Well, they're already starting.
That's
to.
right.
They're already starting.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking that because these guys are like the people that, for example, and I want to ask you about some of the negative things that are going on in the world, like the emerging police state in the U.S. It seems that it's going down that road, and the Boston
Quickly.
bombing and false flag operations and that kind of stuff. But it seems to me that if we are doing this ascension thing, and I'm kind of a little bit doing the role of a skeptic here, but if we are doing that ascension, that the people that are involved in those kind of activities, because they're not really having any fun, the people that are like planning false flag bombings, or people heavily involved in military or CIA or secret espionage stuff, they're not really having any fun, those people.
I think fun for them is the unfolding of total power, the grip of total command and power. This is some kind of a thrill that I don't think any of us who are present here can understand.
Relate to, yeah.
But it's very obvious that they feel that they're losing their grip, and they're starting to act very erratically. It's like they're falling out of the plan. And I just don't, for a minute, believe that it's going to unfold the way they think. But remember one vital thing, and this is something I share with people. It seems to me that when we are at peace, which is very rare on this planet, we become very complacent, very lazy. We don't move. We don't enjoy the peace because we soon become lazy and start thinking about what else we can do. And it doesn't seem until the human race really gets its back up against the wall that we do anything.
Yes.
So in the higher dimensional viewpoint of what's unfolding here, and I too am very concerned about the one world order that's taking power, I think that it takes extreme situations for the human race to rise. And it's extreme, and we're rising. I have to believe that.
So do you believe, Patricia, that there are a lot of people here that are, speaking of Syrians and extraterrestrials, a lot of people here are incarnates, human incarnates, but they're really of another...
I think I've run into a couple of questionable beings.
Well, we had that video of that, that shapeshifter that's working for Obama.
Well, I mean, in order for humanity...
Yeah, well... He's
one of his agents, right?
Yeah. Maybe we can, I don't know if we can pull that up again just to...
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about to assist humanity, people coming in, beings coming in to assist.
This is a really good point, because there's also now, a movement of people that are waiting for the good aliens to come and save humanity. Everything will be bliss and harmony, and I'm like, this is the Judeo-Christian mentality all over again.
Yes.
We don't need a savior. We are the saviors. We're the ones who have made a mess on this planet, and we can't just blame the Anunnaki for all the wrongdoings on this planet if we're sitting here drinking water out of a plastic bottle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that we have to be the saviors, and that we have to stand up for this planet. It's our planet. It's our karma. And if we sit and wait for saviors to come, we're not going to make it.
But there are also a lot of younger kids that are, born now. A lot of kids in their 20s that just have this greater sense of who they are. They seem to have an awareness. Yeah, they seem to have this awareness, and they seem to have a heightened knowledge, and they seem to have a greater understanding of how energy works without any kind of education on it. I mean, I guess their education doesn't even come from here, but they seem to have this understanding of crystals and their connection to the earth, and they seem to have this understanding of evolution in a way that my generation didn't have.
Well, they certainly have access to a lot more information.
So is their DNA already more activated then?
I think we have a dichotomy. I think we have extremely drugged out, asleep youth, and extremely awakened, and even coming in with so much more information. There is this polar aspect about that. But I have recently heard that they've discovered a child who was born with 3 strands of DNA.
Wow.
And he's blind, and he has other handicaps, but he's got 3 strands of DNA. This is a huge piece of information that's just come about.
Wow.
So they've been able to actually identify a 3-stranded being,
individual,
just born.
And where is this child?
It's in the U.S., and I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember the details because I read it in transit. But this is interesting information. I think we're going to see more of these
kids,
children. Yeah.
Wow. So back to your workshop.
Yeah, let me ask the first question. Okay, so the workshop, which is I guess it'd be next. What?
It's May 4th and 5th next weekend.
Okay, so and it's a DNA activation workshop. But what? Let's talk a little bit or paint a picture for people that might be interested in attending what they're going to go through, what they're going to benefit from. Okay,
for starters, I want people to come away from this weekend with a new vision of how to live on this planet in joy, because there's just not enough joy going on.
Yes.
So it's an empowering weekend.
Wow, beautiful.
Filling people with an understanding of their greater purpose for being on this planet.
Okay.
And it's about awakening, reassembling fragments of DNA, the dormant or the junk DNA, I believe, and I'm sure you've heard of Dr. Emoto, who talks about the memory in water.
He's actually been here in this studio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Did he sit right in this chair?
No. not that chair.
He is a wonderful, he has done so much for the awakening consciousness on this planet. And so he talks a lot about the memory of the water. We're 80% water. It's all there. We just have to help the cells remember what they're supposed to do. And that's what I'm helping people do through altered states, a lot of deep meditation, supportive visuals, helping people remember, help the DNA remember what it's supposed to do, and let's reconstruct the dynamics of sacred geometry at the cellular level.
Wow.
And in doing that, help us prepare for the ascension process.
Sounds
So are we going to
powerful.
have 3 strands of DNA after the workshop?
You know, if I said that, it would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? I
No.
think whatever anybody is ready for, I am suggesting that we're going to put the suggestion into the waters of our body of full 12-stranded DNA consciousness. And it's the first time I've done 12 strands. Up until now, I'm doing up to 6.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what makes this, why now? Why are you doing 12 now?
Because I think that the planet is vibrating at a point where we're ready to start working on that level.
Awesome.
And somebody told me that Toronto is the place. I'm looking for the people. Where are the star seeds?
Well, we're right here.
Well, come on
That's
down.
why we're having you on the show today.
So we're
Gia
hoping.
says he is.
Gia's definitely ready.
You know what? Many people have said that Toronto is actually a hub for a lot of.
Star seeds?
Yeah,
Where are they? Tell them to give us a call.
Well, I think they stay quiet.
Yes, well, you need to do that. I live in Rome. We live under the radar.
Yeah. It's very interesting how that works.
But it's time for fearlessness, which is another one of my big messages. It's like, come on, man, come on out.
Face
You're a
it.
starseed, speak to your truth. Come out there and help shine the light on this planet.
So Patricia,
no more fear.
To that point, if some people are watching thinking, okay, you know, I don't know if I am. I don't feel like quite like I fit in, but how would I know I am?
That's a very good question. You can go to a psychic and they'll say you're from the planet Zargon, and then suddenly you embrace that idea and become that. And my message is, don't let anybody tell you anything
Okay.
about who you are. You have to know it from within. And it may be a life journey of discovering that. But don't forget, you're a human being. You're an earth.
Yeah, even if you are
Being
from
Somewhere else.
Don't get lost in the
tourists.
ego focus of that. You're here, you came here on purpose, you came here to do something. Find that and honor that. And everything else is just gravy.
So if people feel called to come to this workshop, then
We hope they will, because we're still taking reservations, and they need to contact us at
lightinterseminars.ca.
See, I don't even know.
light.
Interseminars.ca.
Light, L-I-G-H-T, like in international, seminars.ca.
.ca.
It says Hinter. Is it Hinter, or are these
No,
wrong?
it's just,
Are these?
it's light eight. I tell you what.
Is that the
look up
website? We're showing the website right now. Is that,
Okay, great.
so
Or
we've
they
got-
can just Google Patricia Cori, which is, I'm pretty much all over the internet. So if they Google Patricia Cori, they'll be taken to my site and they can contact me through there.
Okay. Well, we're going to put the website up in the
Okay,
credits
great.
anyway, so that people can take advantage of it.
Wonderful.
And
Go ahead.
well, I just want to talk. We do have a couple of minutes left, but you're talking about the ascension of the whole solar system, right?
Yeah.
And you know the sun has been acting weird
Exactly.
lately.
It's been acting wonderfully. One of the reasons why the governments are all freaked out about the sun and all the disruption is it is potentially going to knock out the grid.
Yeah.
So they're like, the sun is dangerous and all. It's doing what it's supposed to do. My book says, trust the sun. It knows exactly what it's supposed to do. The sun is a conscious being.
Well, the interesting, if we go to fourth, if we do ascend in another dimension, we don't really quite know what that's going to look like or feel like, right? But, you know, they talk about, I think in the Bible even, like in Revelations when they talk about all that stuff, they talk about like a new heaven and a new earth. And it seems to me that that is kind of what we would get, right?
Well, fourth dimension has also been kind of compared to purgatory in the old structural religious information.
Well, that's what, when you mention it being a
The holding
clearing
zone.
station,
Exactly.
that's
So
what it
that's the
reminded me
forces
of.
of the battle of
Yeah.
the dark and light, right? Where it
The
finally
council
comes to an
say,
end.
the Syrian High Council say, we are going to be facing our shadow as a collective. and that instead of being behind us, our shadow is going to be right in front of us, and we're going to have to deal with our karma immediately.
So what do you do with that?
Well, I don't know what you do. I'm going to
surrender.
I'm going to embrace
Don't
my
run.
shadow and surrender to it and say, that's what I did then, and I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. Okay. When's this going to happen?
When?
Yeah.
Linear time.
I'm sorry.
What I can say is this. We notice that time is mutating completely. 24 hours, forget it.
Yes.
24 hours is a reference point that makes no sense anymore. And my information is it's going to happen so quickly, we may not even notice it first. Because we look at it this as a linear process where the sun is going to be moving through space and all these planets, and the council say it's going to be faster than the speed of light. And it's hard for you, they say, to understand it because you're still in that linear construct of time and space. But we are telling you that the shift into another dimension is faster than the speed of light, and that does exist.
Is it fair to say, excuse me, is it fair to say that it will happen in our lifetime? Can we give it that? Okay. Now, is it fair to say that we will be moving into a money-less society? What does that look like?
Well, money is a material idea, and we're going to be moving out of the density of this materialism and matter itself.
Will we still be physical?
I hope so.
Okay.
As you may have heard of Seth, Jane Roberts.
Yes.
Well, Seth said once, before you get all excited about becoming non-dimensional, higher dimensional beings, I would like to just tell you to take a good time and enjoy your physicality, because as an entity on the other side, oh, how I long to drink a glass of wine or make love to a beautiful woman again.
It's just like that Star Trek episode with Sargon.
Who was Sargon?
I didn't see that episode.
They were like three entities, and they got
oh, that's right.
Right, they were just consciousness,
They
and
were
they were in
just
those
consciousness. They were
balls,
in the balls.
and then they were going to build robots, but they transferred into Spock and Kirk and
They wanted to experience physicality.
and a hot chick, and then Kirk and the hot chick were going to have sex, which
But he
would have been
never
better than being
did.
in a robot.
Kirk never did have sex.
But sex in 5D would be better than sex in 3D.
She's an expert on this, by the way.
It's really funny that this is a discussion because we're so attached to this physical reality.
I know, and that's why we're having so much fun with it.
My husband too. He said, "We're not gonna. There's no sex in the next dimension."
Nobody wants to go now. That's the problem.
He goes, "Wait a
Nobody
minute."
wants to go.
Answer: enjoy where you are in every moment of your reality, of whatever it is. Enjoy it. Get the most out of it. And as I tell people, have the most fun as you possibly can, as quickly as possible. That's my motto.
As quickly as possible.
That's right. Okay.
Enjoy life. Enjoy it. And as much as possible, stay out of our heads, because we're getting too mental about this. If you trust your immortality, this is the clue to life as far as I'm concerned. If you understand that you are an immortal being, everything else just falls into place. You just stop worrying so much.
Well, somebody, if you don't fear death, you don't fear life. If you fear death, you fear life.
That's profound.
Right?
And I don't fear death because I've been on the other side and I've seen it. So when you've had that fortune to be able to experience that, there's no more fear. There's anticipation perhaps, but not fear. And I'm about fearlessness.
Okay, that's great.
Wow,
okay,
it's beautiful.
So May 4th and 5th, people can upgrade their DNA. And again, what's your website, Patricia?
I have two websites, patriciacori.com, and the more frequented one is SyrianRevelations.net.
And are there links there where people can get find out about and get access to the event in Toronto?
Yes, and they can write to me at info@SyrianRevelations.net, and then I can refer them to the organizer
Perfect.
of the event.
Beautiful.
Well, this was so much fun.
Thank you. It's been great.
Here.
And
I'm going to be in your suitcase when you go back to Rome.
Come on, you'll fit. You're so small.
don't forget to cut holes. Okay. Otherwise, she won't be able to breathe.
We'll stick a little straw out.
That works. I'll have a world passport.
And maybe that's where you can keep the liquid explosives.
Oh, by the way, it is a really good idea to have an active passport. Just a little comment I'd like to share with people. Make sure your passport is updated.
Okay.
Just a nice thing to have.
Well, Jeffrey's got the world passport from Gary Davis. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Okay, Patricia, this was
Thanks
great.
a million.
Thanks for
Thank you
doing this today.
so much, and good luck, and have a wonderful workshop.
We will.
Oh, okay, this is good. Okay. Actually, I got a couple of videos from you. I've got the multi-dimensional one, and I've got the 2013 thing.
From me?
From your stuff.
Okay.
Do you want to play either of those
Sure.
as we exit? Which one
Do you know which
prefer?
ones he's talking about?
2013 one. Okay, let's do the 2013 one.
Okay.
And then, which is number, I believe that's the video number 2. And then we'll play the UFO over Toronto that the cosmic ray made us all forget about, but we've got videos, so that'll hopefully remind you. And we'll come back with Gia as Liquid Lunch continues. We'll be right back.
We came into this lifetime to learn something, and many got lost in the noise and illusion. But no matter. We are children of the universe, souls in transition. We travel the strings of consciousness, climbing the spiral of light, becoming, being, returning to source. What a celebration. 2013 is upon us now. All the potential we have waited for, dreamt about, anticipated, and returned to take part in creating is now. What a celebration, indeed. And the noise of the earth will continue. There will be fear, there will be adjustment, there will be resistance, but we're on our way. There can be no denial. And I ask you, will you join me and take a giant step together? 2013, I'm a busy girl. Here's what's up. Toronto, in May, ascending the spiral of light, and as it describes, Patricia pulls out all the stops. July, my annual visit to the crop circles and the sacred sites of England, walking through the veils. Please join me. And a very special thing, very special encounter, calling the priesthood home to Atlantis, where we will do magical things together. Atlantis, the Azores Island, Portugal. Oh, a busy year, more to come. Stay tuned, and please contact me at info@syrianrevelations.net if you'd like to join me on one of these adventures.
And we're back on the show, and there's a little bit of Gia music.
It sounds nice.
Thank you
Nice
so
music in the
much. I'm
house.
so glad to be here. Thank you for
So
having me
good
again.
to see you again.
Same here.
You just make everybody feel good, Gia, because
Thank you
of
so
your
much.
attitude is so
Yes,
fabulous.
yes.
You guys,
you
because you are great people, that's why.
I don't know. I have a funny feeling any room you walked into,
Yes.
you'd be making people feel good.
Sometimes it's not happening. Sometimes they are, can you say that this guy... I'm just
Now, you know
kidding.
what? Don't you find, Hugh, there are some people who have that it star quality,
Thank you.
and some people don't. And Gia just has it. You just walk in, and it's just your magnet.
I'm an alien. As Patricia said, I came with the last ship. They left me here.
So we're all staring at you because you're an alien?
Yes, yes.
Which planet are you from? Because
6 DNAs I have inside.
6
They didn't
DNAs?
check it. Yes. Going to 7.
think-
6.5.
Oh, okay.
You know, I always deny having DNA because I don't want, if it ever comes, I'm in court. I don't want them to use DNA
Is that
evidence.
the paternal test stuff you don't want to be doing? Is that why?
Yes, because he has 6 kids we don't know about.
Yes, it's all those kids.
Well, you'll never find out because I don't have DNA.
Ladies love him, that's why.
I know. It's the smile, eh?
Yes, the whole persona.
So we have the huge smile, and we have the it factor here.
Yes.
So, Gia, okay, so I know you're busy. You're playing all over
What
the
have you
city.
been up to?
Right?
I'm also doing collages and stuff.
Really?
You know,
No, it's-
all kinds. I'm just kidding.
oh, okay. I know, because I know
All
some
kinds
people-
of things, all kinds of goodies. Graphics
He is
and stuff.
multidimensional. He's everywhere.
Yes, like every alien,
Yes,
I'm living.
yes.
And in the next, you were talking about sex in the next dimension. It's not called sex in the next dimension. It's called making love. It's superior to having sex.
Okay, makes sense. Hugh, would you know about that?
A little bit.
I can imagine. But, Gia, can you give us details?
Let's see. Where do we start?
Very well. Okay. Well, is it going to be anything like your going to Shanghai party coming up at the Hughes Room?
It's great. It's amazing. First of all, we will be in the Guinness Book of Records.
Why?
It's the first ever Canadian band invited by the government of China. We are the first ever Canadian
To
band
play-
in history invited by the government of China
To
to
play-
play in China. Not invited by other organizations, and
Right.
9 people. The only other Canadian band was a brass band, 5-people band, like 5 years ago, and that was it. We are the only band who are 9-piece band, and we're going invited by the government to the most prestigious festival, the Spring International Festival.
Wow,
That
that's
it's like 1 week, and there are like hundreds of acts, and in many places, in many halls. It's not happening in one place only.
Well, that's really exciting.
That's
Yes.
Have you been to China
extremely-
before?
No, I've been to Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau, but not China. So I'm very excited to be there.
Now, how did that happen that the government invited, of all the bands in Canada, how did they come to invite your band? Like,
We
what's the
have
story?
to give credit to Sunny Sun here, my manager,
She is amazing.
arrange it with Senator O, and arrange it with different people from the business, and we were accepted at this festival, and they even like our music.
So is this festival, is it all about jazz? Because that's what you do, or is it everything?
It's everything. I mean, I think one of the acts is Terry Lynn Carrington from Boston, who is the top drummer, female drummer in the world, together with Sheila E.
Okay, yes.
Sheila is more on rock.
Yes.
Terry Lynn is more on jazz, and she's a PhD in drums. She it's a professor at Berkeley and at New England Conservatory.
Wow.
So she's after us, like a few days after us, also performing. But other American bands went there already. We are the first Canadian band.
Wow, that's amazing.
You know,
Did
so-
you even know you can get your PhD in drums?
I knew that.
I didn't know
Yes, you
could
can
do
get a
that.
PhD in everything. You know, in ancient times, Caligula made his horse give him a diploma.
Oh.
You remember? It's
Oh,
the
okay. So can we
history,
just give ourselves PhDs? Okay, Hugh, what do you want a PhD in?
making love
That's right.
in the
Well-
next dimension?
Well, when I'm not doing the show, I'm Dr. Sex.
Yeah, there's a good one.
That's
It's true, Gia. I'm not joking.
Gia really
Yes.
believes you on that, and so do I. Yeah.
Yeah. I read somewhere in the magazine
What's-
about it.
Yeah, what's
actually.
your toll-free number? And are you in the back
Don't
of
worry,
playback?
Sandra. You can have personal consultations
Yes,
anytime.
you are close by. You don't need phone numbers. You can apply directly.
Okay, you know what? Okay, this show is just going from bad to worse.
It's going downhill.
It is. Let's go back to the aliens.
Gia, do you believe in
And it just
aliens?
started.
Do you believe in? What did you think of that last interview we had?
Interesting, very interesting, and I do believe very strongly that there are other civilizations in the universe. Definitely, we cannot be those that selfish to think egotistic to think that we are the only ones. For sure, there are other civilizations, more advanced, less advanced. We don't even know because the traveling is so problematic.
Yes,
we
yes.
don't even have spaceships that can carry enough fuel to get to planet Neptune.
Yes.
So when we will get there, we will know about these things, you know.
Well, we're going to talk to Jeffrey after this interview.
Jeffrey just
about
said,
all
well, we
that.
do, but it's just hidden or something, so we'll talk a little bit
All
about
right.
that.
But let's get back to the China thing because it's that's got to be so exciting to be going there and to be not going there and playing music.
Yes.
To a whole new audience, a whole new market.
Yes.
I mean, I could just, I put myself in your shoes, and I would be so thrilled
Come
to
with
be
us.
doing like that. Okay.
Took a lot of convincing. We
We
have a whole room here who wants to go with you.
Yes,
it's going to
guys,
go from a 9-piece
everybody's
band to a
invited.
29-piece band.
Everybody's invited. We have 10 days of 14 gigs.
You're playing 14 gigs in 10 days.
Some days we play 2 gigs in a day.
Are you going to be tired after a day
Probably,
like
we
that?
don't know. In these kind of situations, you always sleep.
Yeah.
The funny part was when we were 20 or something. I remember. No, when he was 20, we had a new guy when we were already 35, and this new guy came in the band. He was so happy. He's touring and
Wow.
everything. So he's partying, he's drinking. After 1 week, he's gray. And his eyes are yellow. I told him in the airplane, take a bit easy. It's
Yes.
first time for you. You have
to
all the
rest,
time in the
yeah.
world. Don't jump. He jumped because it was
excited.
new. It was
Yeah.
exciting. It was after 1 week. Poor guy was like this at the show. He didn't know. Do we play tonight? Yes, we do. Let's go, baby.
So you're staying in a hotel over there?
Yes, all these details. Sunny, it's way more.
Okay.
Because
okay.
normally, if you're touring
title.
Northern Ontario, you'd just be in a van.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right?
Which is cool in a van. I like it in a van, baby. So we'll be in the same hotel apparently, and we run from there. We
that's
have
great.
light transportation, everything, and they are very, very sweet to us. They provide us with everything we need, the instruments, because they understood it's very hard to carry drums and 8 keyboards.
Oh, of
So they're
course.
they're going to supply all the.
They will supply the instruments. They will supply
Now, how's that going to
transportation.
feel for you though?
Very
Because
sweet.
you're not playing with your particular. Isn't this like a hockey player using somebody else's skates or something?
It's as a piano player. Here you play a Fazioli, which is my favorite. Here you play a Steinway. There you play a Bossendorfer. You get used to it. As a piano
Okay.
player, it's a bit easier.
Okay.
Guitar players, saxophone players, which is mouth to mouth.
Yes.
You know, resuscitation. Sorry. So it's like, of course, they need their instruments.
Yes.
But being piano,
It's okay.
it's okay. You know, the drummer has a little bit more touch with his drums, but keys, from this point of view, keys are the less troublesome instruments.
Okay.
You just touch keys and it's kind of.
It's all the same.
Lucky for
Some
you.
people even say it's soulless because of that. Guitar, it's closer to your heart. I don't know about that, but it's okay with me.
So Hugh, for you, because you have a bass, would you be
Yes.
comfortable just using some strange?
Well, yes.
You would?
Yes, I was in fact playing somebody else's bass quite recently, and you see my bass. Okay, Gia, okay. Anyway, my bass, the strings are actually pretty far away from the fretboard, right? So when I play another bass that's actually set up properly, it's actually a little bit easier.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yes.
And I kind of like the fact that I'm doing that because it makes it. It's like becoming a runner by wearing heavy shoes.
Yes.
Then when it's race day, you take those heavy shoes off, you put on some light shoes,
And you spring.
and you go crazy.
Just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
No game. just the road. You remember What Women Wants, the movie? No games, just the road. You and the road.
What movie is that?
What Women Want, when they presented that Nike commercial, Mel Gibson
Oh, okay.
and Miss Hunt, and the
no
woman
idea.
is running and no games, just the road.
Well, okay. So when are you leaving for China? When is that? When are you hitting the
Around
road?
May.
So you're going to
Around May.
Shanghai party
Yes.
is the 6th.
Yeah, and
Yes.
so you're
Of
having a
May?
party beforehand.
Yes,
so
we have
tell
a
us,
party.
Tell us what's going on that day, May 6th.
So we go again to Hugh's room after we played all the city, the regs, and everywhere. We're going back to Hugh's room for testing the band. We want to hear
okay.
how it sounds in an environment with people around. We want to see what songs people clap more
Yeah.
or less.
Yeah.
We want to see what songs we can manage to give a rendition that it's worth listening.
Yeah.
We want to test what song, because in rehearsals you have some songs that you like to play. In the show, other songs sounds better.
Yeah.
In the rehearsal, there are songs that I'm crazy about, and I put it on the paper. I love them so much, and you go to play them for people, doesn't sound a bit. It was in my mind. Like.
I know. It's interesting
Funny
how
how
that
that works.
happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to test what's going on, and some things. I wrote something that took me like half hour, and we go and play on stage. Big success. Everything it's going. Other things I'm working on them for months, and and we go there to play. Everybody's like, what's going on here?
But maybe even. But I'm just thinking. There's got to be certainly cultural differences between a Canadian crowd and a Chinese crowd.
Good point.
So some stuff might not work here, but it might work fantastic
Yes,
over there.
that's very, very. So first few shows the same. We'll play whatever comes, and we see what they respond to, and we'll hang on to those ones, And I know somebody around here who asked me to do some Chinese songs, and we look upon some Chinese songs, and we played some Chinese songs for Major Hazel of Mississauga, and for Senator O at the Mississauga. You probably will see on the video soon.
Yeah.
The Mississauga Arts Center.
Okay.
And after we played, I did an arrangement, a jazz arrangement for a Chinese song, and everybody asks after we played it, which one of those were the Chinese song? So nobody knew when we played it, So these kind of things, you have to keep close to what they know about that song to try to get something close to it, If you do something with too many drums or too many guitars or something, they might not recognize it because they have their own instruments that they play it on or
Right.
something.
But you got invited based on your music, not
Yes.
based on you playing
Yes.
Chinese music.
Yes.
So maybe they don't even really want to hear Chinese music. Maybe they want to hear world music from around the world, because they can go anywhere to hear Chinese music.
I'm thinking the same sometimes, but my entourage doesn't think the same.
Oh, is that why you looked at them like that? That's why you looked at them when we were talking.
Politics.
Okay. You might want to learn a few words in Chinese, and just to say,
Xin Fian Lian, you are a beautiful girl.
It's good to know that one.
how about where's the
Faidila,
washroom?
hurry up.
Okay. How about where's the washroom?
I have to work on that one.
Okay.
Fangawa, go to sleep.
Okay.
Fungawa.
Only
You
I
don't-
thought that
you-
meant something else.
all the goody stuff.
How about, thank you from Canada?
Shishi.
Shishi?
Shishi.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Yeah.
How about hee hee?
I don't know what might mean, but have something. But shishi, it's thank you.
Wow, very nice. So, are you do you get a chance to rehearse your songs before you even play
Yes,
on
we
stage?
rehearsed a bit, but again, these super stellar players who are so busy that we barely get them together. It's very hard to get them to.
Because all these guys are professional musicians.
Well,
do their
Yes,
own
they
thing.
read first sight. They
Okay.
can play anything. They can improvise in any kind of mode or harmony. Or you
Wow.
just show them the paper, and it's like, you want me to do this way or this way? Or maybe all are
Wow.
awesome. Whatever you want to do is great.
So are you going to? Yeah, that's a good question though. Are you going to have at least one full band rehearsal before the Hughes Room gig?
We
Or is
had
that the rehearsal?
two full room rehearsals already.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
plan to have another one. Hughes Room, it will be kind of a huge rehearsal for knowing what catches faster.
Yeah.
And when we are on the airplane and everything, we still will talk about a few things to arrange things, and probably we'll get better by day, you know.
Well, it sounds like a fabulous, a
really
great thing to do.
does.
Yeah, baby.
So, and it's a great time of year as well. The weather will be good, and
Yes.
I mean,
And when are you guys off to China? Shanghai?
So around May.
May 11.
Yes, and everybody says that China is beautiful. Shanghai. It's a modern city. It's a lot of stuff going on there, and beautiful girls. And so we're looking for. China has its civilization thousands of years old. When in Europe they were in infancy still,
Yeah.
China already had a very, very massive, a very strong established administration. It was an emperor thousands of years ago when nowhere else was an empire. It's considered one of the first civilizations together with Sumer. So it's so interesting to explore that
Yes.
there.
Are you gonna get a chance to do some of that?
Museums and stuff. If we have time, we intend to go to some museums, some painting. I'm crazy about painting exhibitions, arts. Chinese are very good with arts, with crafts, with all kinds of manufacturing things. You know, so I'm very curious to see what's
Yeah.
going on. You know.
and it's a happening place right now. The economy is
Yes.
going crazy. The whole culture is emerging from that communism.
The food. Do you know that they have 80,000 different dishes?
Hopefully
I didn't
most
know
of them are
that.
vegetarian.
Well,
So
they eat
probably
some
half of it
animals
are-
that we don't eat over here.
Oh, they have scorpions, and they have all kinds of things that and it's like, on a stick, like, shish kebab. And
Yeah.
you get the scorpion. There are 20,000 scorpions.
Are you
You are
going to eat
joking,
scorpions?
right?
Are you
Are
going
you
to eat some
joking?
scorpions?
I want to try. I'm not kidding. I want to try.
Okay, all right. Well,
my
Gia,
God.
you can come back and tell us how the scorpions were.
No. You can come back and tell us how it was, but we can minus the scorpions.
No, I want to hear about the scorpions. Okay. Don't forget to cut the tails off.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
we do
Gia.
that.
So now, May 6th at Hughes Room, I guess people get a last chance to see it before we go to China.
Yes, sir.
How can they get tickets for that? I guess on your website?
So also on our
Hughes
website, also on the Hughes Room website,
Okay.
they will sell tickets. Also at the door, and wonderful people that you already know will be VIPs.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, it's going to
So we hope we have a few people that are well known. A few senators we have, the consul of Romania, the ambassador of Romania, the consul of Moldavia, the senator Hof from Canada China Trade Organization, and people
Is
like
this all
Moses
Sunny's
Reimer.
doing as well?
Yes, Sunny.
Wow,
is doing
I figured as much. She's an amazing lady.
Everybody loves her.
No kidding.
Yeah, people asking what you need to do with this guy, man, and work for me and stuff. They try to steal her all the time
Well,
from
no
me.
kidding. No kidding.
Well, I know you probably make it easy
she's a
for her,
jewel.
though, Gia, because all you have to do is sit you down in front of a camera or microphone, and it's all good from there.
Yes. True.
Ask her how easy it was this morning.
Is that why you had a headache and you were looking for some Tylenol, Sunny? No.
Something of that sort.
Okay, Gia, so people can check it out, GiaIonesco.com or HughesRoom.com, I think is what it is. And we got a video now, right? This
Yes,
is where
yes.
this is Hazel.
With Senator Oh at the Mississauga Arts Center, where we performed for the Chinese New Year in the preparations for the China trip.
Okay, great.
Wow,
We're looking
beautiful.
forward to this.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Have a blast. I know you will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We'll be
Thank
there
you
with
for
you in
having
spirit.
me. Thank you for having
You
me.
are welcome, Gia, always. And look forward to having you back soon. We're
Love
gonna
you
watch-
After
guys.
you come back.
And we're going to come back with Jeffrey
Thanks.
West to talk about disclosure as Liquid Lunch continues.
Well, Gia is a force of nature. You don't always understand where he's coming from until he gets behind a piano, and then he makes perfect sense. He's a good friend after only meeting him one time. And he's got the spirit that the minute you meet him, you go, I think I want to hang out with that guy. I want to find out what ticks. And then it really doesn't matter what ticks. He just gets behind the piano and he's brilliant. He's experimental and he stresses the mental. I think that's very important. He's like an idiot savant, but he's not an idiot. He's just a savant. Okay, all I can tell you about this guy is I walked into a bar, I saw him play, he blew my mind, and I said, would you please come and do one song at my birthday, because I never knew him before. He put out a record recently, but seeing him on a piano, he does beautiful and strange things to the piano. Please welcome Gia. Where are you, Gia? He is completely unpredictable. All right, Gia's going to play us a solo piano piece. Fasten your seatbelts. Gia and the Unpredictable Update. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. So there's some Gia, right?
It feels like this wind has left because he's out of the room. He's left.
Well, we got new wind in.
We sure do.
We have Geoff West joining
We
us.
sure do.
Hi, Geoff.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
What a great
afternoon.
show we're having today. How much fun are we having today? Right?
Oh, on top of it. We're on top of it.
On top of it.
Absolutely.
And also, okay.
So is Jeffrey. You're very on top of things.
Doing my best.
Doing a great job.
My best.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
So listen, Jeffrey, let's get right into it here because, I understand there's that big conference happening right now down
As
in
we
Washington.
speak.
Do you want to just tell people, we're showing some UFOs and stuff on the show today, but what's going on in Washington right
Yeah,
now?
I kind of have to slap your wrist for that, going
For what?
into the fear factor stuff.
What do you mean? It was just a UFO. That was obviously fake.
Slap his wrist.
But we have a real one, but it's a UFO over Toronto, not causing any havoc. Besides, they were dancing in the streets.
No, for sure. From a news perspective, and many of the listeners won't know this, I'm the anchor for Cosmic Vision News, and I try to explore the events that are happening in the world at this time with a galactic and a spiritual perspective. So my newscast is, I believe, the first of its kind in the world to really go into the news perspective and offer it in this manner. I believe it's laying the foundation for what I believe journalism will become in the future.
Now, this is, okay, so can you give us, distill down in an essence, the mission of Cosmic Vision News or the kind of things that you talk about on the show?
I'm laying the foundation to introduce our galactic families and the technologies that have been hidden to the people of the world.
Okay.
That's where we're moving. For now, however, there is still 3D stuff, what I call 3D stuff, that people have to learn about. People have to realize what isn't working in the world and learn what has been covered up in the world to begin expanding their awareness and their consciousness to step into where it is that we are moving to in the future. And this is some of the stuff that Patricia was referring to in her interview with you. So for now, I am covering things like, unfortunately, the Boston event, Sandy
False
Hook,
flag, right?
false flag events, trying to help people to recognize what is real in terms of news and what is it that's being set up in order to keep people in fear, keep people in debt, and keep people in separation. Because this is really what we're witnessing in the world. At this point in time, to say to someone that there are great things happening in the world, you're going to get one of two people probably, or someone on the fence, but primarily one or two. Someone's going to say, absolutely not. Look at what's, we're going to...
Hell in a handbasket.
Basically.
Yeah.
And the others will say, absolutely, the change is great. And if you've ever had a boil on your skin, some people have it, they know exactly what it is. It puffs up and it has to break.
Yeah.
In order for all that poison and all that's inside to come out, it has to be released in order to be healed. And that's what's coming up in the human and planetary consciousness right now. We're experiencing events coming up that is not only impacting us as a species, but it's impacting us on a soul level, on individual levels. More people are now going through the challenges of personal relationship problems or professional problems in their jobs. And this is the work that you do, Sandra. I mean, you help people connect to what's happening in their world. And I'm grateful for what you do. I'm grateful for what you do, Hugh, because you allow people like Sandra and me and others to come on.
That's right.
And that's what really is what the change is all about at this time. It's people recognizing their uniquely different but equally beautiful service to humanity, our planet, and our galactic families. So it doesn't mean that any one person's job is more important or better. It's every person serving in the capacity where he or she loves to be, wants to be, and is meant to be. And
Right.
that's
Beautifully
people
put,
are
Jeffrey.
starting to move into those positions right now. We're seeing resignations in the banking industry. We're seeing the banking industry collapse. We're seeing some
Yes.
politicians coming out, and I'll allude to some of this more in a few moments as we continue. But it's a profound shift that we are moving towards at this
even
time.
for you, Jeffrey, as little as a year ago, you did not have Cosmovision News, and you
Right.
were wondering, I don't know where I'm fitting yet.
Right.
And you found, or it found you.
Exactly.
But you were in that space, and even so all of us are kind of just finding our footing.
Yes.
And trying to move into that space where we are what our mission here is.
Exactly. It had to flow a certain way. I walked away from the broadcasting industry many years ago because I was not willing to compromise my ethics
Right.
and the morality. I was not willing to play the game that they wanted me to play. And I promised myself I would only come back to the industry when I could do my program on my terms
Your
without
way.
the control. And the internet, thankfully, is what has finally allowed people to start making that contribution. So stepping out to serve in this
Amazing.
capacity has been great. Now,
Amazing.
before that, I was doing lectures and presentations on global peace and healing, exploring what the essence of peace is, why we don't have it in the world right now, what is preventing it from happening, and why we are soon to be moving towards it. So it's an evolution of all of
And
me
that is tied
personally
into
and
the whole what you do with
Yeah.
bridging the gap between here and extraterrestrials too, right? That is
Absolutely.
that whole piece, and that's one of the reasons they're not coming here. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because we can't. If we can't get along amongst ourselves, how the heck are we going to get along with visitors?
Right. And Patricia alluded to this a little bit. There's two scenarios of why they haven't introduced themselves. Actually, three. One that's not really known to people, but they follow well, to put it in a Star Trek perspective, since this is what a lot of people
my favorite.
people resonate with, the Prime Directive essentially means that they cannot come and interfere with us unless we are welcoming of it. So that
Okay.
means that humanity, at a certain level, we have to collectively raise our consciousness and our vibration to a point where we can receive them in the spirit that they are here. Now, as Patricia said, there is the fear that some will want to take guns and weapons and want to harm them. So, of course, they're not going to want to show up to that. There's the other perspective as well that I have heard, that when you, for example, the best analogy that's coming to my head right now is if you walk into a room that is completely filled with light and you're blinded, you have a hard time taking it all in. Or even a room that's full of loud noise. It overwhelms you because you're not used to it. The energies that our galactic families are bringing to the planet at this time are at such a level that it almost pushes people back into what they are mirroring out into the world, which means that in their presence, whatever I am greatly fearing,
Is
I just
amplified.
cover up my microphone. Yeah, it is amplified to themselves. So they could actually become overwhelmed. Their neural circuits might actually blow a gasket or
Which
blow
I
a
think has
fuse.
happened to a lot of people, actually.
And indeed, so as they try to connect more and more, some people are desperate, and I admit I'm one of them. I feel in my mind, I feel in my heart, I'm waiting for first contact to happen. It's there. I know they are there. I know that they are benevolent. Am I really ready? I have to look back into myself and say, I'm not quite sure I am.
Yeah.
Well, wait a sec. Now, okay, so you're saying they're benevolent. Now, what we hear is there's a number of different races or species, right? There's the Greys. There's the type...
Anunnaki.
Yeah, the Anunnaki. I want to get to that. So
Okay, sorry.
the Anunnaki that we were talking about with Patricia earlier, I mean, she's saying they're not exactly so benevolent. They're here to steal all our gold.
Well, it is... And I think, as Gia even said, when he was talking about the existence of life beyond Earth, it's unrealistic to expect that we are alone in this universe or in the multiverse or in the omniverse. It's also, in my mind, unrealistic to expect that every single species is going to be absolutely at the highest levels of vibration. I mean, we are merely an example of life, what my work calls life capitalized. So it's the physical, the non-physical, the visible, and the invisible that serves the all that is. There are civilizations that are at a... I hate to use the term lower because it's more judgmental. Each civilization exists at an appropriate space of vibration and awareness to serve an appropriate function
Okay.
within the knowledge of the all that is, or the oneness of life.
Can you
In
give
other
us an
words-
example of some of those kinds of species?
Well, Hugh mentioned, the Greys. The Anunnaki have played a role.
But now, dimensionally speaking, the Greys are fourth dimension, correct?
That's what I have heard. I am not
So they're
versed
technically higher.
Well, again, you don't necessarily talk about higher or lower. The fourth dimension, as I think I understand it, and I don't claim to be an expert in any stretch of the imagination, but if what I think I know is true, and it is for me, it may not be for you or for you, it's a transitional phase. To put it into a human analogy, for people who have had near-death experiences, they have perhaps described being in a middle phase where they have seen a light at the end of the tunnel. Some of them may have actually walked towards that light at the end of the tunnel, but didn't actually cross over. So think of that as perhaps a middle phase where darkness can still exist.
Okay.
So in the space where we are right now, yes, I choose to believe that there are members of our galactic families who are at a vibration that some might consider less than life-honoring.
Okay.
But I don't want to make them wrong, because even here on Earth, we have needed the people to play the roles of darkness in order for the rest of humanity to have an experience of itself. In other words, we can't know what love is unless we've had the
lack
experience of that which is not love.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
So and this is part of where the forgiveness really has to come in as part of the human journey that we are moving towards. We're being called to let go of what it is that we are. But what we have been hanging on to has been so ingrained in us by the cabal, which we're going to probably be going to shortly. And they have taught us all of these beliefs of fear, separation, that we are supposed to live in debt, which we are not. And that's why the system is now collapsing.
We have to throw that off. We have to shrug off that yoke.
Yeah. It's
debt and
throwing off the
taxation.
coat of what we were.
So let's go into all that stuff. Let's delve in.
Okay. So to move towards that consciousness, we now have to realize what it is that hasn't been working in the world. And over the last year, we have begun to witness phenomenal breaks in terms of events, in terms of consciousness, in terms of awakening. If you're really looking for it, you can see it. For many people who haven't yet been ready to look for it or aren't quite ready to see it, they might still see fear. They might still be thinking of their retirement pensions. They might still be thinking of their banking system, their homes, their cars, their wardrobes, their social life.
All the material stuff.
All the material stuff is in the process of transforming and changing, really. And we are shedding that. And more people are stepping outside of themselves at this time into that higher service to realize that there is more to me than what my life has been up to this moment of now. I choose in this moment of now to fulfill my higher purpose. What is my higher purpose? And that's some aspect of the work that I do as well, trying to help people connect to what their life path is, which I talked about the last time I was here on the show. But for now, what we are witnessing is in my humble opinion, it's a phenomenal breakthrough. We are on the watershed of stepping into a whole new realm of human consciousness and planetary consciousness. We are witnessing the people in Europe who are putting aside all basically sense of personal security. They are standing up, they are speaking out.
What are they doing?
They are rebelling against the banking system.
Is this like an
against the Euro
Occupy
banking
movement or something? Is this
No, it's when the bank steals your money, you get angry.
Yeah, but how are they expressing their anger?
Protests.
Okay.
In some cases, it has become a little bit violent, but more, by and large, a lot of people are not doing it violently. And it's actually the agent provocateur. There's actually groups that are going in to try and stir up the violence, to try and get people to respond more with violence. And we've been finding that the populations and the masses are less reluctant to go there because they are recognizing the trick. And they're not.
And they've done that here in Canada too, where they've taken
G20
Quebec police
Summit,
and
the Quebec police. Yeah, the G20 was
posing as provocateurs.
The black...
Boots, whoever they are, the black bloc.
Well,
Yeah,
so
black bloc.
are these what, cops that come in to try to instigate?
They
or
did. They
undercover
proved it.
cops that-
They did it in Canada. They proved it. It was cops posing as troublemakers.
Yeah, and that is part of the system of Admiralty law. So we are currently witnessing the collapse of the banking system, the fractional margin system of banking, a system based on fiat currency, money created out of thin air. That has basically been blown to smithereens right now. A new banking system is being created allegedly by the BRICS alliance, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and that group of countries. This system is in the process of being implemented now, and it's going to be rising up at the same time as the current system is collapsing. So hopefully people will not be thrown into too much fear and chaos. Our money system will be evolving and changing. Patricia talked a little bit about what might happen in the future. Money in the longer term will not exist, because as we move to a higher vibration, to a higher energy and service, we just simply won't need it, because we will all be abundant. We will all be healthy. The systems of structure that have been presently created, the health system, the pharmaceutical system, the banking system, the system of Admiralty law, they are all collapsing. And as people connect to the truths of that, once those collapse, the higher priority begins to shift. What is it that I need for my basic survival? Food? All right, what kind of food do I need and want for my body? Not Monsanto food. So people are rebelling against the companies that support Monsanto brand foods. Clean water. People are starting to look for technologies, and these are some of the technologies that have been covered up by militarized patents that this citizens' disclosure in hearing seeks to help unveil during this week.
Okay, Jeffrey, we're about halfway through this interview now. I want to get into the really nitty-gritty of the aliens, the disclosure, the forbidden technologies. Let's get right into it here.
Okay. Let's backtrack a little bit. About September, October of 2011, the White House put up a petition website and invited people to submit petitions on all topics. And people wrote in asking for legalization of marijuana, blah, 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 blah. And Stephen Bassett from the Paradigm Research Group put up a petition asking for the federal government to disclose the engagement of an extraterrestrial presence with the human race.
Okay.
At that time, because the federal government, or the U.S. government, I don't think expected a lot of people to really pick up on it, they said, okay, 5,000 signatures and we will give you an official response. Well, this particular petition went quite high.
Okay.
So they were obliged to respond to it. And on November 4th of that year came the official response from the U.S. administration. I'm going to read this off here. The U.S. government has no evidence that any life exists outside our planet, or that an extraterrestrial presence has contacted or engaged any member of the human race. In addition, there is no credible information to suggest that any evidence is being hidden from the public eye.
Sounds reasonable. I mean, it sounds official.
It sounds official.
But not reasonable.
Not reasonable, no. But what it did, though, was that it put a government officially on the record as having denied all of this information. And since that time, several other petitions have been filed by Stephen Bassett as well. But unfortunately, the government got wise and they said, boy, we'd better raise the threshold here. So now it takes like 25,000 signatures before the government will reply officially. So there's no question they're scared. There's no question that they are trying to hide something. They are trying to look as though they are helping the people by offering a petition website, but at the same time, they want to put it so far out of reach. Like they're going to say, if you really want it, you'd better mobilize your people, otherwise it's just not going to waste our time. So people thought that this died. But now we've got these citizen hearings. Now we've got this documentary movie, Sirius, that are coming out at this time.
That's the thing. Okay, you have this response. Okay, Then you have Stephen Greer's Sirius. Okay, which completely contradicts
Exactly.
what that. So
Blows the lid wide open.
so what does that say now? What does that say either about, you know, the ufologists or the government? There's obviously there's a huge discrepancy here.
Exactly.
Somebody's lying.
Yeah.
There's no compromise. We either have extraterrestrials or we don't.
Right.
It's not kind of sorta. You can't kind of sorta have extraterrestrials. So one or the other is lying. What do we do?
Okay. Well, that's part of what the Sirius movie and the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure is meant to do. The Citizens Hearing on Disclosure, as advertised by Stephen Bassett, is that if the government will not do its job, the people will. So as a result, Stephen Bassett found or organized an event where he found 6 former Congress people who are willing to preside over a mock congressional hearing. In other words, they're going to do exactly what the official congressional hearings do, but in a more informal capacity.
Okay.
So these former congressional members will sit there, and there are 6 of them. There are 4 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 3 men, 3 women. And they will be hearing testimony from upwards of 40 witnesses who come from very official and credible aspects of agencies. There are researchers, there are people from the military, there are people from the security and the intelligence agencies. These are just not fly-by-night lunatics.
Like Hugh and myself.
Yeah. These are accredited people with very professional backgrounds. They are bringing with them the knowledge of having worked with or participated in projects relating to technologies or the existence of our galactic family members.
So they're qualified in what they're saying, in other words.
They're qualified in what they're saying.
Okay.
And there are hundreds more. This is just a very small sampling of people. There are pilots. There are people who have worked in the air traffic control. There are people in...
Jeffrey.
Where are you going?
Wait a sec. Now, we talked about the false...
What are you inhaling here?
We talked about the false flag, Boston bombings, and other potential false flag operations. Now, I've heard, because I study the internet meticulously, that there is,
right.
I mean, there are some people out there that say that the whole disclosure thing is about creating this illusion of there being off-world presences. What they're trying to do is create, and it's something called, they actually have a name for it, called Project Bluebeam, but they're actually, it's all a big conspiracy, a big false flag operation to create the idea among human beings that there are people or civilizations off-world, so that they can somehow create a reason or an excuse to band together in a one-world government. In other words, it's part of the strategy to create a one-world government, because we have to deal with these off-world presences.
Yes.
And so, tell me that that's not true, Geoff.
I believe Bluebeam exists. I personally feel it will not be successful.
But what they're going to do, their idea is they're going to try to create the illusion of an alien, whatever. Maybe that's what disclosure is the revelation of this fake 3D laser. In fact, that's what they say the chemtrails are for, to create a laser, 3D holographic laser screen in the sky.
Intriguing indeed. Well, the reflective particles.
So maybe you're going to get disclosure, Geoff, the way that you are describing it, but maybe it's a false flag.
Either way, it's going to come.
Well, if it's a false flag, then what are we going to do? Believe in...
Who do we believe in?
Yeah.
There's the rub right there.
Exactly.
This is where you connect to your higher self. In your higher space of consciousness and awareness, it is up to each individual to use his or her discernment to find what is real and what is meaningful to him or her.
Tenet number 4 in SIO.
If you are one who desperately wants to perceive disclosure as coming through some kind of fearful false flag event, that's perhaps how you're going to experience it.
Because that's all you can
wherever the consciousness goes, wherever the attention goes, energy flows.
Right.
So where we are collectively, energetically as a species, is what will manifest. The cabal is running out of cards. Their fearful attempts to manipulate the banking system are failing. Their fearful attempts to create war are failing. The Zionist cabal government in Israel, it's being exposed right now. It's being linked to the false flag in North Korea. Do you know how badly they were trying to push nuclear war with Korea 3-4 weeks ago? All of a sudden it's quiet.
Yeah, that's
Why?
true. It's a good point.
It just dropped.
So why?
Just
So
dropped
why?
off.
Why, Jeff?
Because nobody is playing the game anymore.
Okay, so they're not buying in.
They're not buying into it, and they realize, okay, we got to do something else. So they're going to Syria now, and they're saying, okay, throw out some sarin gas, throw out this, throw out that, do something to get people back in fear, because then they will come and look to us for our
No,
leadership.
I
and
heard.
our power.
Okay, did you hear somebody? Okay, I got this video that said that the whole Syrian conflict was over. That the Russians and somebody had gone in there and checkmated the West because NATO. My vibe is that NATO's stirring up all of the rebellion against Assad. Who actually, I think Assad's okay, but I could be wrong about that.
Well,
My
NATO
vibe
is
he's
primarily the
okay.
cabal-controlled governments.
So, but then I heard that. So I heard a couple weeks ago that the Syria thing was dead. But now today I got some information that there was new trouble in Syria. Have you heard anything about that?
I've only heard stirrings. I haven't been watching the last couple of days. Preparing for these hearings, preparing for coming today and the
Okay,
like.
so Jeff.
But
yeah, go ahead.
the last card, it has been said that when the cabal runs out of cards, the final card that they play will be the fearful alien invasion, which I do not buy. And I do not like that word alien. I avoid it as much as all possible. I really do not wish to touch that word because part of my work is to try to share with people that they are a part of us. Science has definitively connected us to them now. The evidence is there. So they are a family. They are a part of us. In exactly what way, that is in the process of being revealed. Patricia talked about it a little bit. Is it worked into some strands of our DNA? I think it is. I do believe that we have some connection to our Andromedan family, Sirian family, Arcturian family, Pleiadian family, the list goes on. Is it any different, really, than a human who has been born from a Romanian great-great-grandparent who married a Russian great-great-grandparent who then had a child who married a Hungarian individual who then had a child who married someone in Canada or the U.S.
The soup.
We are a family, very intimately connected. Greg Braden has shown that our DNA has a divine code worked into it, based on the numeric gematria, the science of numerology and numeric codes. The original name of God in the Hebrew language, or the Hebrew language, the original Irish Celtic language, which is what Hebrew evolved from. Many people don't know this.
No, I didn't know that.
The Israeli history has been borrowed, so it actually comes from a culture and a language Hebrew, but we won't go there right now.
Wow.
But the original name of God, Yahweh, YHVH, in the Hebrew numeric code links to the three mother letters of creation, which I don't remember what the Hebrew words are. I didn't prepare for that. Anyway, by matching the numeric code of that with the periodic table of the elements, Greg Braden found that they link to hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So YHVH forms the three non-physical components of God: hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. By looking at humans, our DNA has YHVG, G equating to Gimel, which in the periodic table of the elements has the numeric number 12, which is carbon, which means that humans are actually God in physical form. And religion has been trying to teach us that we are separate from God, not actually a part of God. And this is part of the fearful stuff. So now getting into Blue Beam, which you spoke of a few moments ago, the aim of the cabal apparently was to be able to project in the sky over certain religious factions their particular Savior. So for Christians, they might see Jesus. In the Islam, they might see Muhammad, or they might see Buddha or Allah, whomever. That, I believe, was one of the aspects of what Project Bluebeam was going to be. Now, our galactic families, the messages that have been coming from the galactic families at this time have said that a certain amount of karma still has to play out. which means there will still
You mean
be
human karma.
Human karma.
Correct, yeah.
So there will, on smaller levels, there will still be acts of violence. There will be people who will pull up guns, they will harm people, they may kill people. That has to play out. They cannot interfere with that. What they can, and what I believe they are interfering with, is the overall survival of Gaia. In other words, they will not allow any kind of nuclear war. They will stop anything related to that. They will not allow any significant global catastrophic events to occur, because that's not what has been prophesized for this time. Gaia is shifting into a higher vibration. Earth is shifting into a higher vibration. The galactic families have been here to help preserve that energy, to support that energy. Humanity has the choice to participate in that if they choose to. If they do not, what we are witnessing is a playing out of the fearful energies. So those have to play out. For those, the rest of the people, those who are more awakened, do not judge the events, do not make people right or wrong, just simply observe it. Let the energy play out without necessarily criticizing people for what role they are participating, because everything has a purpose at this time and is contributing to the overall awakening that we are now experiencing.
Okay, we're just about out of time, Geoff, but Sandra has one quick question.
Okay, do you still think Obama is a light?
There is a lot of people who are beginning to turn against him. The hint that I look at is how the mainstream media treats a president.
Okay.
If the mainstream media, which is primarily controlled by 7 very wealthy Zionist owners, that's the mainstream media, folks. You know, I'm not saying the Jewish people, okay? I am not, because they are different. I'm not
Make that
saying
clear.
Yes, I want to be very clear on that. There is a faction that has been controlling a lot of the media,
okay,
and they are primarily there. And having said that, the media turned against Kennedy. They turned against a number of presidents. They are turning against Obama. They are doing everything that they can to make Obama look bad. Obama has had a very difficult time. I still want to believe, I still feel that he is in a kind of an undercover police role right now.
Okay.
He's in there knowing that the president really is not a powerful position. It is a puppet position that is controlled by a shadow government. There are other people who have been in power much longer. They control the system. A president just merely comes in to be the facial.
They have to install a president that's going to put forward their agenda. And it seems increasingly to me, Obama's just another one of these.
Well, it looks that
Illuminati
way. I admit it does look that way, and there have been times when I have found myself beginning to wonder, has he slipped over to the dark side? I don't want to go there just yet. I have a feeling, call it my intuition, I don't know, but after all these years of having been on the outside of what humanity's been thinking, having been called a kook and a wild, you know, I've stuck true to my intuition, and now that has come true.
What
all
does
of this
Steve
is coming
Bickel
true.
think?
He's on the same side.
Okay.
There are people who, and I do respect the people who think that Obama is bad, because admittedly, it does look that way. It does. I can't deny that. But when you play a game of chess, there are times when you have to make a move and you have to put your bishop or your rook out in front of your queen in order to keep the game going. So you have to think a number of moves ahead. So he has to play a certain strategy of keeping your friends close but your enemies closer.
That's why he signed the Monsanto Protection Act.
Well, a lot of people don't understand the whole system of U.S. law. A politician can have a very good law, and that's what Obamacare was originally. But what happened was all the congressional people are lobbied by the lobby groups. The lobby groups begin to create all of these secret side deals that build into the original document.
Okay, Geoff, so, we have to wrap this up. Do you want to leave us with any final thoughts about this?
Okay. Use your discernment. A lot is happening in the world at this time. Regardless of whether or not you believe in it or not, try to stay in a point of being non-judgmental. Stay with your heart. Go with what you feel is right for you in this moment of now. If a certain topic is of interest to you, follow it. If another topic is not of interest to you, don't follow it for right now.
Okay.
Set it aside, but go with what's here and be guided.
Well, speaking about the heart, Jeffrey, our next guest, Sandra Saradesi, is going to be talking about healing the heart. And so we're looking forward to that. It's all working out perfectly today on Liquid Lunch.
What an amazing show.
Yeah. Now, Geoff, where can people get in touch with you if they want to follow up with you, and especially your Cosmic show?
Cosmic Vision News is heard on Blog Talk Radio, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday evenings. They can go on, search Cosmic Vision News. There is a link to the page for Cosmic Vision News. You can basically do a search for that and find it. greenprintforlife.org is my website, and there is a link to that news page as well where people can find it. So,
and the radio show is great. I've listened to it. It's a great show.
It is good. Okay, Jeffrey,
Thank you
thanks for doing this, coming down from Barrie today.
Thank you.
Also, I know you were giving me a hard time about creating the fear with the UFO over Toronto, but we have one. This is an actual footage of a real UFO that was over Toronto that wasn't blowing things up. But what happened? A cosmic made us forget about it. But we've got video, so we're going to watch this now, and then we'll be back.
The problem is not proving that UFOs exist. It's when you begin to expose the energy and propulsion systems behind how they're getting here.
What scientists need to do is they need to look at the hardcore evidence, decide that, oh my gosh, ETs are real, and then get over that. Then you can start extrapolating.
These sciences have been around for decades. They have been ruthlessly kept secret because of the power of a centralized petrodollar oil, gas, coal system. And right now, these misanthropic sociopaths are running the planet into the ground.
Governments have not gone far enough, so we've decided that as people to form our own movement.
All right, game on, roll one.
What we are attempting to achieve is a device which defeats the perpendicular force of gravity.
We have so many modes of converting quantum vacuum energy or zero-point energy.
This possible EVE was found in the Atacama Desert.
We have the best scientists that are going to be doing the DNA testing.
We have 1,150 teams of CE5 ambassadors.
I can attest to the fact that real phenomenon happens here.
And this is probably the most important thing going on this planet today, and yet nobody talks about it.
If we come together, we can make this happen in a matter of months, not decades. For this is the destiny of humanity.
The way government regains the trust of its citizens is by telling the truth. There is no other way, no shortcut.
And I call upon our government to open up, like the Belgians have, the French have, the Brazilians have, the Argentines, the Mexicans have all released their files. It's about time now that we do the same thing and become a part of this planetary community.
It is way past time for all of us to know what our own government knows, instead of being kept in the dark by a policy of denial.
The last time the Congress held a hearing addressing the extraterrestrial issue was 1968, 44 years of sightings ago. In those 4.5 decades, hundreds of thousands of new sightings have taken place. Government agency witnesses have come forward. Media coverage has expanded. Hundreds of documentaries have been produced, thousands of books have been written, and yet the United States Congress has remained silent. So for a period of 5 days, at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., 2 blocks from the White House, and 12 blocks from the Congress of the United States, we're going to conduct a citizen hearing on disclosure of an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race. 40 to 50 witnesses of high rank and station from military, from agencies, and possibly from intelligence services, along with the top researchers in the world, will give 30 hours of testimony to 5 former members of the United States Congress.
So maybe the citizens' hearing has a chance to try to leverage open some of the truth about the fact that we're not alone in this universe, that we might actually begin to look at what we really are, what the true history of this planet is. And that might be what gets us into a future without self-destruction.
The motto of the citizen hearing is if Congress won't do its job, the people will.
You can't exercise free will without knowledge, right? I mean, how can you make a choice without the knowledge of what choice to make? And so if the government strips the knowledge away, they take the choices away. Now you don't have the option of choosing where to go. It's one thing to try to control people's behavior within the context of their ability to exercise free will. It's another thing to literally control them before they can exercise judgment.
One of the CIA men told the people they were now sworn to secrecy that this meeting never happened and this event never happened. I said, well, you're going to tell the public about it. And he says, no, we don't tell the public about this. It would panic the public.
I think it's time to open the books. Questions that have remained in the dark, question of government investigations of UFOs.
Stop the music, Governor. Did you say the United States government is covering up a history of a UFO sighting in your state?
It is now time to put away this embargo of truth about the alien presence.
They don't produce documents, Chris. They should just get it all out.
We ought to do it because the American people, quite frankly, can handle the truth. And we ought to do it because it's the law.
It's no longer about lights in the sky. It's about lies on the ground.
Welcome back to the show. It's me, Hugh. Sandra, of course, joining us. And also Sandra Saradesi. Did I say that right, Sandra?
Another Sandra.
You said it perfectly.
Okay.
Hugh's got bookend Sandras.
Yes, I know. The power. The power of the Sandras.
The
Let's
power
do
of
it.
Sandras.
Okay, let's talk about the power, Sandra. And Sandra.
You know Sandra means helper?
Yes, to humanity.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
Okay, well, let's get to know you a little bit, Sandra, because your website is called healingoftheheart.com. Right?
Yes.
Can you tell us, I mean, just give us a little introduction to all the work that you do.
Well, this notion or this the website that was instantly available to me, which I found such a blessing, because the healing modality that is supported by the angels in the angelic language is called Belvaspata, which is kind of some letters that we will get used to it as the consciousness of humanity starts raising. Belvaspata, the translation of that word means healing of the heart.
In what language?
The angels, the angelic language. We know very little of the angels.
Do they even speak?
They speak, let's say they give us their light and frequency, the pure light and frequency, to assist us with, I heard you talking earlier, with illusion, with the removal of illusion. And what is really illusion is anything that keeps us in bondage or separation of our true essence. So how do we know if we're in separation mode or in oneness? Well, how much pain are you holding? Whether it is mental, physical, emotional, it all comes down to the belief system that we all have to die. We all have to get sick eventually and die. Drag our feet, wear glasses after 40, have lower back pain or somewhere there, and all these programs and belief systems that have kept us in the boxes of limitations. So with this angelic assistance, effortlessly, and you don't have to take my word for it, I'll be more than excited to give you a sample healing. It will start shedding all these layers and layers of programs of the matrix, and then we finally can start live truly a life free of our own self-made prison bars.
Wow.
Am I speaking your language? Did I lose you here?
No, you had me at.
That happens a lot, Sandra.
I'm not gonna take it personal.
Wait a sec. So.
See, told you. Do you want me Okay, let me take over. Do you want me to speak? Are you okay to speak?
He's an expanded state that happens when people come into my presence sometimes.
Yeah. Plus, you put this special
perfume
oil on my all over me, right?
Well yes.
All over you, Hugh? Well, here we go again.
No, actually, it was all under.
Yeah. All over and under.
Oh my God.
Well,
under where?
We just use some of the meridians. These are incredible pure Egyptian oils that have.
Which meridians?
Well, I just put on the third eye and on the throat, and I just got back from a retreat from studying with this incredible mystic that I've been sharing this journey, or she's been sharing the journey, or I don't know how to describe it. And the truth is that when you run out of words, you have touched something real. So I just got back from Red Deer, and every time we are in a class, it's never her the one giving the workshop. It's just such a wave, like it's this oneness we receive to each other, and we uncover new information. She shared this information about the meridian points, and each meridian point, we have 4 negative emotions out of the 12 main meridian points, and basically this is what has given us what we've been talking about earlier about anger, the feeling of anger, the feeling of fear, the anger, the hopelessness, and the guilt. All of that comes from distorted emotions that are kept in each of these meridians. So when we use angelic sigils for each meridian, accompanied by these sacred oils, these pure Egyptian oils that are not only uplifting, they have a quality or a tone that they enhance, and they release the distortion. They can be also used as perfume, so you don't smell like you're in a recovery out of a clinic. Because up to this point, I like the essential oils, but I wasn't too sure if I would be wearing them to go to a party or to go to a social event. But these are so exquisite, and they have the right amount of each combination of the flowers. So I put some special oil on Hugh, and that's what is happening. The oil effect.
Spinning.
That's what's happening.
So he's running out of questions. I like it.
So what do you do? What is this healing modality? What does it consist of? If someone were to come to you, Sandra, what does that mean?
Well, it will be typically done in a massage table.
Okay.
For about an hour.
Okay.
There's no physical contact required, as the frequencies are vast enough to just be placed on top of your on your etheric body. But since I'm working with the oils for the last 6 months, and actually what happens is that the sense of smell has the longest nerve in the brain, so it awakens parts of us that were dormant or slumbering. So that's why I said to Hugh, do you want me to awaken some pieces of you that are slumbering? He says, yes. So we did that. So before I do a session, I have incorporated the oils. So I do a massage, a head massage, hands, and I don't go if it's a woman, I don't go too down on the heart, but we have a high heart, which is at the base of the throat. So I massage that, and a lot of times there is pain built up, like buried there, and it starts to release with the oils. And on top of it, I had 2 cases of 2 women that over a decade, they both have lost the sense of smell. And using the Belvaspata frequencies and the oils, they have recovered the sense of smell sporadically, on and off, and then more, so sustaining that sense again.
So is this, and forgive me for using an analogy, but I've not heard of this before. So I know of Reiki. So do people ever compare this to Reiki? Is this similar, or how is this different than Reiki?
Well, Reiki works with energy, and yes, I get lots of questions like that.
Okay.
And in the cycle that we were before, we were in the cycle of energy. And then in 2005, what that means is that we were working with the positive and the minus. That's how energy, so opposites attracting each other. So life was much more difficult for light workers before 2005. And as we started to move into the cycle of ascension of light, then it means that it works with sameness, like attracts alike.
Right, okay, which is very much the law of attraction.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when you're doing a session, say you want to come for a session and you want to include a child of yours, but that child is very rebellious and doesn't want anything to do with the mother or whomever wants to give a blessing. So in the old modalities, you would have to ask permission for this kind of thing. But because it's a blessing that stays in the aura, hovers in the aura until the person is ready to receive it, there's no requirement of asking for permission. So you include that person. When I have clients, I said, would you like to, or sometimes they don't even say that, and then in the middle of the session, I start feeling that there is somebody, loved one coming in, so I just automatically include it. And so it's really beautiful because it has all probabilities hover upon you, and it's an alchemy. It's a white magic alchemy, which is black magic has at the core is one benefiting at the expense of others. When we're talking about white magic, what is truly is the highest good of all. So the highest good of all, meaning no compromising anybody. Right. And it's beautiful to send it's not even sending, because sending is a direction which has to do with energy. You just in an inclusive way, you bring that person in the session.
So you were saying Reiki is dealing with energy, right? The polarity, I guess,
yes,
right?
That's polarity. Good word. I forgot that.
Okay, yes. And so what you're doing is dealing with energy in a non-polarity?
It's light and frequency, and we're not opposing. So somebody comes to me because they have a perceived problem or a perceived disease. So instead of focusing on the disease with Belvaspata, at the base of this sacred modality, what it is, we are seeing the perfection of what it is and the beauty. So the best analogy that I'll mean, which is this great mystic that has been revealing all these incredible tools, this is just one of the many tools, is imagine you are a Rembrandt, a masterpiece that is covered in spider webs, and it is so covered that you can't really tell what's underneath it all. What's right underneath it all, it's just perfection and beauty waiting to be revealed. So with Belvaspata frequencies, with the sigils, with the power of the sigils, which, by the way, there is not a limit of sigils like there is in
What do you
Reiki.
call them, sigils?
Yeah, SIGIL, which we were talking earlier, and the sigil is an ancient writing, angelic writing. I can, I can get the book and show if you like, but we have, it's not a limited amount. I have like few briefcases with the different specialties. We work at the chakra system, we work at the emotions, we work at the etheric, at the higher chakras, we work for the reproductive system, we work for remembering our godhood, for releasing all belief system, for releasing all the fears of the mind. There's no end. As I was just saying, we just receive another piece, which is to work with the meridians and the emotions. But so anyway, with what happens is, going back to the painting, is that with the power of those sigils, the spider webs get dissolved, and then you truly get to see, ta-da, the masterpiece of who you are.
That's what we want. Can you do that right now first?
Ta-da! That's the beauty.
It's done.
Done. You are beautiful. We just have forgotten. So another word for healing is awakening. There's
Okay.
nothing broken. There's nothing to be fixed. It's just that we have forgotten. So with these sigils, you start living a more vibrant life as you remember that you are all things, as you remember you're not separate. So that oneness brings you back home. Some people get it really right away. Some people more gradually at the level that we all are. We are like a slice of the big bread. Each one of us are our own very own unique universe.
So if I were to come to you, Sandra, so I'm coming in for a session with Sandra.
Yeah.
So I lie down on this the massage bed. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you speak to me? Do I fill anything out first? Am I expected to bring questions?
Does she have to take her clothes off?
No, she keeps her clothes on. Yes, that's number one. I have a special music, angelic music. I thought you had changed here, by the way.
Yeah, those oils didn't help that much, apparently, Sandra.
He needs more oil.
I just want to know. Just asking questions.
He's coming back now. You see, he's coming out of that trance. We need more oil.
A second dose.
Yeah, I think so. More potent, please.
Anyway, so what I like to, instead of getting into the mind, okay, what is the problem? Because as it was said earlier, what we focus on, we empower. And we would just want to empower in the beauty of who you are.
Okay.
So I would probably just ask, because I've been practicing Belvaspata since 2007. And
wow.
And I've done all kinds of events. I just most recently did the total health shows, the public shows, my own healing circles.
Beautiful.
And I have noticed that the less you feed the person into what seems to be the issue, we can go deeper.
Makes
So
sense.
I said, well, is there anything in physicality that had already manifested? I said, so because we have a map in our body, so each part of the body is speaking to us, but we just don't know that language.
Okay. So if somebody has, can they come to you if they have breast cancer, for instance?
Absolutely. I actually had a case of healing breast cancer, and this was in 2007 or 8. I think in 2008.
Wow.
Yeah, the right breast cancer, and it was what really shifted was awareness. So one of the many gifts that you get with Belvaspata is your higher levels of awareness. What is awareness? Is consciousness, is energy, and as well, you get to be present in the moment. So that's how you build up karma. This is in brackets information. When we don't see the whole picture, when we don't take all the insights or all the lessons, then we have to make our trip back in a different body to learn, what was in this room, for example. I get to absorb this room, get all the lessons, and just be fully present. So how do we get there? We can only get there if we silence the mind. And then, once this mind is silenced, then we can open the heart. The heart cannot open if we have the voices. As I said, the guest. I have the guest upstairs, and they're always talking. So this one is completely shut. So this is the other gift of Belvaspata. So I say, well, do you have a pain? You have pain in your throat. You have breast cancer. This has manifested. It has to do with nurturing the right breast. Has to do with usually women with right breast cancer is about men leaving them, so they feel abandoned. They have issues of abandonment. So the issues of abandonment is when you feel that you're a victim, when things are happening to you. So Belvaspata will help you see the perfection of how you're responsible for creating your environment, for creating your life, for creating your outcomes. And it's nothing that we talk about. It's just that each particular sigil will start revealing that perfection. So, for example, for this woman that had the breast cancer, she had a nephew, very young, 2 or 3 year old, and I say to her, my assignment to you would be just spend more time with your nephew, see how he lives life, see how much wonderment he has for every moment, and just feel that passion for life, because cancer comes for abandonment of the self.
Okay.
Abandonment of the self.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I say to people, okay, would you go 6 months on a tour, on a trip around the world, and leave your house open, unlocked, windows open? This is what we do on a daily basis. We abandon ourselves to live vicariously through others. So by the power of that, the Belvaspata angels, it's like you become grounded, if you will. People tell me that they see colors different, they see more vibrant. I get people telling me I'm hungry, and a lot of people that don't self-nourish themselves usually say that. So they start being grounded, they attend to their needs of their bodies.
And how often, Sandra, do people have to come and see you? Like, is it once a week? Is it, how does that, I know it depends, I guess, on the issue, but
Yeah.
like say someone who does have breast cancer, let's go back to that. How often, how often do you recommend?
Well, I would say around 4 to 5 days. And ultimately...
Over every day, you mean? Or
every
once a week?
Yeah, every 4 or 5 days.
Okay,
at the
got it.
beginning. And the other thing is that anyone can learn how to do their own healing. So if there's something that people are called to learn, I teach workshops, and we teach it over a weekend. So there are 4 levels: level 1, level 2, and then 3 months later you're qualified to learn mastery and grand mastery levels.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
Like, were you always doing this, or did you at one point in your life sort of have a breakthrough or realization and you got into this work?
I was waiting for that question because I tell you, Hugh and Sandra, I have been since I remember, I knew I had to do something to be of service, but I tried to learn different modalities and different. I was doing.
Always searching.
Yeah, kind of trying, and I knew, and I actually had booked appointments to learn different modalities and never pan out. Then I was also learning. I did over 2 years Kundalini yoga. I was going to take my certification, and didn't happen. And then now with Almin, we have the yoga of illumination. We have 4 yogas, and now I'm teaching this yoga. So anything I wanted to learn from the old cycle, it never really came about. And then in 2006, when I learned Almin. I met Almin in 2002. I used to volunteer for the Learning Annex because I just was wanting to be in tune with everything. And it was very interesting because I remember seeing her and not understanding what she was talking about. As zero, I don't even recall one word, but I could see through her, and I could say with all my heart, I know she's ultra special and she has something I cannot comprehend. And I can even tell you, she came in a spacecraft. She did not come driving a car. It was like that knowingness. And I saw her again in 2006, and it was like my earplugs were removed, and I could hear and understand. And ever since, I went to my first workshop with her, and I received my certification or my initiation of Belvaspata, and I knew it was like instantly.
Is it Almine who does this?
Yes, Almin.
Okay.
Yes.
Almin.
Yes.
Okay. That's the lady with the white blonde hair, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
You seem to have heard of her.
Yes, I actually know of her.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a video on her.
Yeah.
She's a very interesting individual.
Yes.
So that was one of my questions. Where did this information come from?
It comes from her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She was actually in Ireland, and we were talking about Ireland a little bit earlier. And in Ireland, she was teaching a workshop, and suddenly through the window, she says like a flock of, I don't know if that word applies to butterflies.
Okay.
So it landed in her forehead, and the meaning of butterflies is spiritual gifts.
Wow.
And she started writing the modality as she received all night, the first part. And as we are now, we are into about to publish for all the major diseases: autism, Parkinson, Alzheimer's, cancer, all of it. But as it is, we have enough material. I have 19, I think, angelic frequencies to work in each part of the brain, for example.
Wow.
So that
after the show, can we lie down here?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so now, thank you for that.
Joking.
But no, I need all the help I can get, Sandra.
We all do.
I know, you know. Okay, but Sandra, like people watching it right now, like who are can you describe the kind of people who are watching that should maybe really think about coming to see you or giving you a call or getting in touch with you?
Good question.
Everybody. We all need to remember who we are so we can start.
So even if you're not physically ill,
yes,
you don't have to have a cancer or a tumor or something like that.
If you have a challenge in your life, whether it is you're going through a divorce, you know, chances, divorce, childbirth, like anything that, you know, or if you are not at the place where you want to be in your career, It's like there's something we're not seeing, because we are to have absolutely everything. If we are everything, why are we struggling? So the struggle stops the minute we start resisting life. All the troubles come from, is the analogy I say, is like, imagine you're driving your car, your vehicle, with the emergency brake on. This is how we go through life.
I have done that a few times, actually.
I know, I do that almost every day. Just kidding.
Okay. So, now we actually have a video of you.
You do?
Or something, some kind of a video.
No way.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to play that as we wrap up the show.
He's good that way.
Which one did you find?
I don't know. All I can tell you, it's about 3 minutes long. That's all I know.
They're all probably 3 minutes long.
Okay.
Is that okay? Can we play it?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, I'll talk about the CDs really quick.
Please.
Do you want me to?
Yes.
So, with Almin's material, because it's a very esoteric, and it could be very
She's very out there.
Yeah, so I say to people, is she out there? I say, well, it depends where you are.
Oh, she's out there.
I was already out there, so for me, it was right here.
Okay, all right. No, she's out there.
So the CDs are...
Just hold it up a little higher. Here, I'll hold this.
There you go, beautiful.
There's your...
So this CD is a full book of the healing modality of enlightenment, which covers all the fears of the psyche, of the mind, the things that we don't even have words for, the new language, and people actually, they do listen to it. If you tell me you don't have time, they play it at night, very low volume, on
Don't play it driving.
No, while driving. Good point. Yeah, and I have reported testimonials and miracles. So I had to, yes. So the angel group is Kanish Belvaspatan. The word Kanish means enlightenment. So it's a full hour of angelic calling, and I brought this too for the two of you.
No, thank you.
That's really nice.
24 chakras. Most people only know of 7
we
chakras.
Have 24. We've been driving the car with one wheel. So can you imagine? So that's also...
That's why I'm feeling unbalanced. I'm kind of lopsided.
Yes.
Oh, pretty hard with one wheel.
So they both are available on my website.
That's wonderful.
That's great. And so
Beautiful.
what is the
Thank
website?
You, Sandra.
Healing of the Heart.
Healingoftheheart.com.
I already said it.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much. This has been very informative.
Yes.
Thank you so
thank you. I'm
much.
You're still processing, you're releasing, and your enhancement?
Yes.
Good.
Beautiful.
I like that.
Okay, so thanks, Sandra, for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I guess that's it for the show, except for the video we're going to play of
Sandra that doesn't know which video it is.
What?
I don't know which one is. I hope it's not the one on the yoga.
I know which one it is.
It's a beautiful one anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks for doing this.
Trust it.
And that was a great show, Sandra.
Awesome show.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody. We'll
and to
see
all
you
the
next
ETs
week.
who are watching us too.
Yeah,
Hi.
Disclosure is imminent.
Welcome to Healing of the Heart, where we open, heal, and awaken hearts. I'm Sandra Saradesi. I'm happy to offer to you tools for enlightenment, Belvaspata, Kivesta, and the Yoga of Illumination. I invite you to learn more. Let's start with Belvaspata. What is Belvaspata, you may be thinking? The translation for Belvaspata means healing of the heart, and it comes from the angelic languages. It's a sacred modality that heals with light and frequency, and it was given to humanity as a gift from the creator of all life in 2006. Almin is the mystic that is internationally known as one of the leading mystics of our times. She is the originator of Belvaspata. It's totally effortless. Whether you're the healer or the recipient, it is effortless. When would you need a session of Belvaspata? Anytime that you're feeling disconnected, separated, or you may be going through a career change, if you're experiencing a loss of a loved one, terminal illness, or just simply want to experience higher states of consciousness, Belvaspata is here for you. Benefits are big thing here because we have lots of benefits, and just to name a few of today: silencing the mind, opening your heart, connecting you to yourself, releases patterns of addiction, removes blockages at a physical, emotional, mental, and a spiritual level. So all your energy will flow easily and effortlessly. And you may start living a life of miracles. Start living a life of miracles today. Contact us, whether you want a one-on-one session or to attend the seminar or for more information. Belvaspata, much more than a healing modality, a way of life. Thank you.